Okay, very good. Well, welcome and to the School Collaboration City Council Subcommittee of November 9th, 2021. I call the meeting to order at 12:08 p.m. Will the recording secretary please call the roll?
Thank you, Executive Director Rudloff. Subcommittee Member Jesse Lopez.
Present.
Subcommittee Member Nalita Mendoza.
Present.
And Subcommittee Member Jonathan Ryan Hernandez. Executive Director, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you very much. Council Member Lopez, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Oh, sure. Hi, everyone. So if there's a flag near you, please stand and place your right hand over your heart. And I'll give a minute so that everybody can stand. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is presentations, and we do not have any presentations for this meeting. And so we will move on to public comments. Recording Secretary Sandoval, do we have any public comments?
Thank you, Executive Director Rudloff. There is one comment. I do see a hand up from Mr. Carl Benninger. Mr. Benninger, you have been unmuted. Please proceed with your comment. You do have 3 minutes for your comment.
Well, I appreciate that. I think all of you know my concern is the fact that in the past, neighborhood associations have been able to meet in the school system, and it was all stopped due to the pandemic, and we understand. And now that we're coming back out of the pandemic, we're having trouble scheduling the schools. Marguerite Macedonia is on the line also, and she can explain the problem she has, that when she goes through the scheduling system, they don't take into effect. And the meetings we've had in the schools have been if we invite the principal. If he's there or she's there, then we can end the meeting. And neighborhoods are very important to the city of Santa Ana. As we say by our model, we improve neighborhoods block by block, and they bring unity together. And they're a good working force for the schools as well as improving the neighborhoods. And so what I'm really asking to do is wherever the roadblock is, if we can again be allowed to have our neighborhood association meetings in the schools, that would be greatly influenced. And Marguerite didn't tell you the number, but I'd estimate almost 40% of our neighborhood associations meet in some form of schools. And these are all taxpayers that are paying for the schools and paying for the city. So I really would appreciate if we can come together and the neighborhood associations can again meet in the schools. Thank you.
Okay, is that the end of the public comments?
At this point in time, Executive Director Rudloff, I believe that is the last comment. I do not see any other hands up.
Okay, and just for the subcommittee's information, we do have an interpreter on the line, Mary Hernandez, and she will be here for all of our meetings. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the consent items. The first item is minutes of the special meeting of October 12th, 2021. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes for October 12th, 2021?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, can you call the roll, Mr. Sandoval?
Subcommittee Member Lopez.
Yes.
Subcommittee Member Nalita Mendoza.
Yes.
So,
okay, thank you. Moving on to item 2 of the consent calendar is excused absences. Are there any approved excused absences?
Executive Director Rudloff, at this point in time, Subcommittee Member Jonathan Ryan Hernandez would be the excused absence.
Okay. Do we need a motion for that?
Yes.
I'll make
Okay.
a motion to excuse Councilmember Hernandez.
I'll second.
Okay, please call the roll.
Subcommittee Member Lopez,
Yes.
Subcommittee Member Mendoza.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, thank you very much. Moving on to, that's the end of the consent calendar, and now we will move on to the business calendar. We have a couple items before we speak with our friends at Santa Ana Unified School District. The first item is the proposed school collaboration is the by majority vote approve the school collaboration city council subcommittee bylaws. So in your report, in your packet, you have a report regarding the bylaws that we talked about at the last meeting. There has nothing that has been changed. And so what I would be proposing is to approve these bylaws and move forward as appropriate, or if there's any changes, we can also do that.
I don't have any changes, Director Rudloff.
Okay,
They are fine as stated for me as well.
okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
Please call the roll.
Subcommittee Member Lopez,
Yes.
Subcommittee Member Mendoza.
Yes.
Okay, next item on the business agenda is the election of school collaboration city council subcommittee officers. So we are asking to elect the chair and the vice chair officers to this subcommittee. It's the responsibility of this committee to elect officers. And we are looking for a chairperson and a vice chairperson to serve a term of 1 year. And we typically have the elections in July. And then our officers assume the positions in August. But since the positions of chair and vice chair are vacant, we would like to elect chair and vice chair at this time. So do we have a motion? Hold on one second. We see Councilmember Hernandez signing on here.
So I would like to submit my name as chairperson and recommend Councilmember Lopez as vice chair.
Okay, we have a motion to elect subcommittee member Mendoza as chair and subcommittee member Lopez as vice. Oh, do we have to take these one at a time? Recording Secretary Sandoval.
Thank you, Executive Director Rudloff. Yeah, let's go ahead and do the nominations for chairperson. The floor is not open for nominations of chairperson at this point in time. Are there any nominations?
I would like to nominate myself.
Director Rudloff, I'd like to nominate myself as chair.
I'd like to support Councilwoman Lopez for chair.
Very good. At this point in time, we have 2 votes for Council Member Lopez as a chair and 1 for Council Member Mendoza. At this point in time, by majority rule, Council Member Lopez has been nominated for chairperson. Council Member Lopez, do you accept the nomination?
I accept. Thank you.
Okay. Council Member Lopez has accepted the nomination. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Guys, I will now open the floor for nominations of vice chairperson. Does anyone have any nominations?
If my colleague Hernandez is not, I would like to nominate him. If not, then I will nominate myself.
Okay, so I have a nomination for Subcommittee Member Hernandez. Are there any other further nominations?
Councilwoman Mendoza, if you'd like to be vice chair, I'm more than happy to support that.
How about if you take it this year, Councilmember Hernandez, and then I'll do it for next year.
I'd be humbled.
All
Absolutely.
right. All right. You have my vote.
Thank you very much.
Okay. With that being said, any further nominations? Okay, the floor is now closed. Subcommittee Member Hernandez, has been nominated as vice chairperson, subcommittee member. Do you accept the nomination?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, sir. Subcommittee member has accepted the nomination. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. And we will now move on to the next business calendar item, which is the Santa Ana Unified School District is here at the request of the subcommittee. And Subcommittee Chair Lopez, I'll let you take it over.
Yes, hi. So thank you so much to the trustees that are present, Clerk Dr. Alvarez, Vice President Torres, and also to our Superintendent, Mr. Almendarez. We really wanted to come together to discuss a lot of the issues that not just impact Santa Ana USD students, but the families of Santa Ana. And I think we heard one public comment earlier today as to maybe one of the issues that we could discuss. But I also wanted to open up the floor to both of you and let us know if there's any parameters that you'd like to work around or really any comments that you'd like to start off with.
Yeah, I can go. One, I would like to get a sense of what the purpose of this subcommittee is. It was my understanding that we would be forming a joint committee with equal voting and access to agenda for the school board and the city council. That is not what this looks like. So if somebody can explain what the parameters of this committee is or are.
Yeah, so I believe Director Ruloff, that was something that we discussed during our first public meeting, making sure that it was something, and I believe in our bylaws, it does state that folks would have voting power as well. So I don't know if you would like to clarify that.
Yeah, the bylaws that you just passed are the responsibilities. Let me just read 4 things from the responsibilities of this subcommittee. It's actually to create opportunities to collaborate with educational institutions that serve Santa Ana, including public school districts, private schools, charter schools, higher education institutions, and others to improve service delivery. So it's a different model than the last time, where this subcommittee is inviting other agencies or entities that serve the city of Santa Ana, and they want to find out if they can partner in some way. We do have, with Santa Ana Unified School District, there are a lot of joint use agreements. That might be a topic of conversation as it needs to be amended. And some other items such as what the public speaker brought up as far as utilizing some of the school facilities for neighborhood association meetings. This committee is to identify existing and future joint use agreements for city-owned and school district-owned facilities to streamline and modernize service delivery, and seek to convene subcommittee meetings jointly with legislative bodies from other educational institutions. And lastly, report to the city council on its goals and accomplishments. So that is primarily what this subcommittee has been formed to do.
Okay, so that was not the intention of us reaching out. The intention was to have a joint committee. I assume that we would have, and we're here today to kind of see what's the goal of this committee, but that was not the intention. The fact that we didn't have a vote over the bylaws, that we don't have voting power with this entity, it seems more like we're guests, not actual participants.
Yes, do you want me to answer? I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
Mr. Lopez. Yes, this is the subcommittee of the city council of the city of Santa Ana. And there are guests, if you will, that will be invited and to talk about things of how people can partner. So the model of what it used to be in previous years is not the same. And so that is, I don't believe there was bylaws previously. I'm not sure. But this is a different model that this subcommittee is choosing to move forward with.
Is there a reason that we're utilizing this model and not the previous model?
I don't have So I guess no, there's really no reason as to why we can't go to a different model. I was under the impression that that was a model that we would be pursuing. I'm open to that. So I welcome any input from Councilmember Mendoza and Hernandez to seeing if we can change that.
Yeah,
I'm
because
s-
I think this, like this model is good, like for you all to have input from various folks that you work with different entities. That's a good thing. And I think we're happy to participate in that. That's not the same as what we were asking though, which is to have a joint decision-making, because it's not anything having to do with joint use projects or city property or anything like that is not something that can be discussed here in this fashion.
Understood.
Something you may want to take into consideration is having a, this is governed by the Brown Act, so maybe that, all the conversations have to be open and in public. But you can certainly have like a workshop only with Santa Ana Unified subcommittee members, if that's what you would like to do. But as far as changing what we just adopted, the bylaws and the purpose of this subcommittee, that is not what was brought up at the very first and discussed with the entire council, and then now here approved by this subcommittee. So
Well, my understanding is that we would work on issues of mutual concern. But of course, if there is some action that needs to be taken, definitely there will be input and voting and agreement from the school district, especially as something that would be concerning. But for this subcommittee, we're looking to work on issues that we can work on together and come to agreement together. It's not that the city is taking over any of these district functions or operations. It's a forum and a platform where we can all work together. We're not excluding the district participants from making any decisions, and it's actually the other way around. Is we are asking for participation and information and input so that we can all come to an agreement. And I don't think there'll be items where we'll need to be voting on formally. It'll be more like brainstorming issues that come up and working on them together and coming to agreements together. If a vote is necessary, then certainly it needs to have everyone's vote, or at least the majority, and that is including the school district personnel. So that is my understanding, and I think it's within the power of this subcommittee to do that. And it's not just voting by us three subcommittee members. It's everyone who is invited from the district. I mean, not the general public, but we always welcome the general public's comments as well. But ultimately, it's going to be a decision that is from the stakeholders, district and city, and will be taken into consideration all information from all aspects. And so that's my understanding. I don't want to be I'm not taking away, we're not taking away any power, and we're from the school district people, personnel, especially Superintendent Mendez. I mean, you have the ultimate voice on anything involving the school district. But it's just take it as working together, brainstorming these issues so that we can clarify and come to mutual agreements. Yeah,
Yes.
and I don't know.
I guess if my question can be answered, so why was the original model, why was it decided not to use the original model of an actual joint committee?
I'm going to defer to our acting city manager, maybe Mr. Mendoza or Director Rudloff, to guide us in that question.
Lisa, why don't you take that one?
yeah, I think that once the discussion of this subcommittee was brought back to the city council, you all decided that this was the direction that you wanted to go with the subcommittee. There is a joint use agreement that you had discussions. This was an ad hoc committee before the subcommittee. And then the city council decided to make this an official subcommittee of the city council. And their interest was to work with all entities that serve Santa Ana. So for example, Santa Ana Unified School District, I would think that you would want to talk about the joint use agreement. So if you all talk about the joint use agreement and the amendments you may want to make, then each body has to bring it back to their board or the city council and report back and eventually come up with an agreement of if you want to continue on with all the joint use agreements. There's a lot of them, whether you want to have them one joint use agreement, but this is a discussion subcommittee, and then eventually brought back to your governing boards and city council for approval. So
we had asked for a joint committee from the beginning, and we were offered this in response. And so rather than say like, no, we don't want to do this, we came to this meeting to see what it was like. And it was kind of what I was assuming, that we're guests. And I understand the role of this committee for the city council. And I think it's good, like if you want to meet with Garden Grove or some other entities, that makes sense. But I don't see why you cannot also have a joint committee that is specific just to Santa Ana and the city, where the decision-making power is the same. Why can't there be both? Because I understand the need to have space for all the things that would affect the city that doesn't relate to the district. Why can't there be both?
I think the biggest question would be, is there support from the school district to go that model?
Yes.
Is the school district ready to nominate 3 people to be on a joint?
It'd be 2.
committee?
It'd be 2 people. Yes, it was two people.
Okay.
Yes.
Lisa can certainly explore that. We were under the assumption that the school district was not interested in that anymore. Maybe we were wrong, but
That's not the conversation that we've been having at the board meetings. Go ahead, Alfonso.
Just for clarification, the last time that we met was in 2017. I was part of those meetings. Ever since then, I've been talking to various council members about starting the joint meeting again. 8 months ago, I had a conversation with the mayor. The mayor said, yes, we're going to start the joint meetings again. There's always been support from the school board. This is something that we've always wanted. And it's frustrating for me, because the thing is, of all the missed opportunities that are out there, we need to work together. We have about 8,000 homeless kids within our school district, and that's an issue that we should be working on together. The housing issue, publicly, we started talking about getting involved in the housing. And not only that, but also the things that you're doing with Parks and Recs. After the last meeting was disbanded, I actually had a meeting with Assistant City Manager and Sarmiento, and we talked about doing joint programs, the school district and the city. And not only that, but we talked about shared costs, sharing the cost of some of these different things, sharing the cost of Camp Catalina, sharing the cost of the coding programs, STEM programs, the library services that you guys are doing. And for me, it's frustrating, because the thing is, I feel that we've had so many missed opportunities as we went through COVID, and as we're emerging from COVID. I think that there's a lot of good opportunities towards where we can maximize our effectiveness in how we deal with the public. The kids are our kids during the school hours, after school hours, and then weekends are yours. But the bottom line is, we're working with the same kids. Our kids belong to you. Your kids belong to us.
absolutely. And sorry.
There is definitely, the board has reiterated multiple times in public during our board meeting that we would want to have a couple of variations, right? This kind of being invited to a city subcommittee, perfectly fine. It makes sense, right? That you're going to have space for different entities. That makes sense. A joint committee would be different. The power dynamics and how decisions are made are different in a joint committee. And then third, there was also a suggestion, although I don't know where it went, for to have one big meeting once a year with all council members and all board members. I believe that's happened in the past as well. That is also something that can be discussed, so that we have multiple areas of collaboration and different ways of doing this collaborative work.
Can I just, Councilmember Lopez, can I speak up here?
Yeah, that's fine.
So I think that is the intention. I think what you all are getting at on Santa Ana Unified, that is like the old way of operations. And this city council has said, we want to entertain and work together. And I'm not sure which power you need, but it's nobody has more power over anybody else here. And we all want to work together. And so there must be certain conversations going on that aren't privy to everybody here. And so like
I mean,
you had
decision-making
conversation with
power,
your board.
Not power. Not power, big power. I mean, decision-making power. The fact that we didn't vote in the beginning of this meeting is a signal of that.
Well,
So, Director Rudolph and Acting City Manager Mendoza, what is the direction if the subcommittee members were interested in pursuing a joint meeting? Is that something that we would have to bring back to the full council for their approval and then reach back out to the school district?
Yeah, the avenue would be for this subcommittee to give staff that direction to come back at a future city council meeting to create the board that you have in mind. And then the school board will have to put that on their agenda as well, because they will have to have the same bylaws.
Okay.
And
So, Councilmember Mendoza, Councilmember Hernandez, is that something that, or what are your thoughts on that?
I'm supportive of it.
Councilmember Mendoza? All right, I don't know if we lost Councilmember Mendoza or not, but I'm also supportive of it. So that's the direction we'll give staff today to come back. Possibly if we can put it on the agenda for next week's, no, okay.
no,
So,
we've lost Thursday.
okay,
The
so
agenda
then
will go out tomorrow night.
the following meeting,
Certainly we can work towards that.
okay, great, thank you. And so then we'll
So-
do that.
so are you wanting another, so the council, Stephen, would this add another committee to the council committees?
I think
Or-
what they're asking for is this committee to stay the way it is, but also to have a committee that consists of school board.
I got it.
and
Okay,
A more of a collaborative committee.
right.
And then my question for this particular committee, was the plan to invite us to every meeting or just when you felt that there was a need to discuss things for this committee right here?
Well, I think for this committee, within the bounds of what you can discuss legally, publicly, we would have to do that outreach beforehand. So not come here and say we want to discuss a land use matter if that's not something that you can discuss publicly, or if that's in the best practice for your governing board. So what we really wanted to do beforehand was set an agenda. That way we understood all of the issues that we wanted to collaborate on.
Okay, and then the other concern in terms of making this work was this time of day is not work. Alfonso is a social worker. I'm a teacher. I had to take a day off today just to be here for this hour because I only get a 20-minute lunch, right? So if for these kind of committees, whether it's the joint committee or this city council subcommittee, in order for us to be in attendance and participate in any real way, it would have to be in the evening after traditional work hours.
Okay, so I guess for the future standing meeting or standing committee that we're going to be requesting, is that something that we could work through the superintendent and our staff to get you or whoever is going to be appointed to that meeting on the back end? That way it's not during working hours, because I know that's hard for folks. And so I don't know if Councilmember Hernandez or Mendoza, you have any input on that end?
I'm certainly open to looking at different times. I know that prior to us meeting today, we as a committee agreed that this was a time that worked for us as members of the council. However, in the spirit of collaboration, I'm certainly supportive of the direction of looking at a time that works for everyone.
Same thing with me, whatever is convenient for everyone. And we also would probably need to be looking at if it's going to be in the evening at city staff time, to make sure that that is something that is that we can do, or who knows, maybe a early meeting before work at 7 a.m. Oh,
I'm at work by 7 a.m.
I think that if this committee is formed, then you all can talk about what works for everybody and parameters and things of that nature. So I would say we get it on the agenda for second meeting or first meeting in December, and then go from there. And then you guys can reach back out to the school district
I agree, that works
with
me.
the details.
Yeah, in terms of like the general idea, even for this committee and as well as a joint committee, like talking about how we can share resources and making sure our community is being able to access city and school and all those, because we have a lot of resources amongst both of our governing bodies, right? Like it's the whole city for the city, and then the majority of the city for the district. And so I think I'm definitely in favor of trying to figure out how we can be as efficient as possible with how we're going to help residents. But I think I think we're all in agreement on the goal. I just want to make sure that it's really clear on the processes before we move forward, because then that's how miscommunication happens, and then it's not gonna yield any positive results for either side.
Got it. So I think we have processes from the last standing meeting, so maybe we can take a look at those, and maybe we can get them circulated to Councilmember Mendoza, Hernandez, and to myself, so that we can be thoroughly clear on what to expect, and then we can talk with staff if we see anything, or before it goes to the council for a full decision.
Right. I would suggest you ask the school district what they're expecting and what they want, so you can be clear on that, because I don't know that there's any bylaws or anything that was created. It might be just better to talk to them and understand, maybe exchange some emails back and forth as to what they're looking for and what you're looking for. Now you're looking to create two different committees. One is going to be for all the other educational entities, and now this one's just going to be for Santa Ana Unified.
You all should have, I believe, access. Was there anything written for the previous joint committee? I can ask our superintendent to do the same thing on our end, but on the city's end, was there any documentation of how the joint subcommittee worked before that can be a reference point? Was there documentation, or was it just a kind of I'm assuming there had been some sort of.
I don't know if it was, I don't know if there's any official minutes or how it really got started. Maybe the clerk can tell us.
Okay.
We'll look for it.
And then I'll ask our superintendent to do the same. Is that okay, Jerry? Okay. I don't know if it was like a loose structure or how formalized it was, so that would be something to look into.
Okay. Thank you for that. Anything else? Is there another thing on the business calendar?
That's all on the business calendar. I just wanted to advise the subcommittee that if you want to continue to meet virtually with this subcommittee, we're going to have another meeting in November to act upon that and get a resolution so you can meet virtually. So if you can, just by consensus, if you can let me know what you want to do, I can set up another meeting. I can get all the documents ready with the city attorney and we can move forward. Or if you want to meet in person, then we don't need to do that. So,
so for the subcommittee, this
Yeah.
body only,
yes.
with the council members, Councilmember Mendoza and Councilmember Hernandez, let us know if you're fine with that, or if you want to, also if we have the option of providing that direction via email, Lisa, is that something that they can do?
Yes, just let me know. Just let me know via email. And I just need to move forward in November, because the city council has the resolution regarding AB 361, which will let us meet virtually, and that expires on December 1.
Okay.
So if you can let me know, we can move forward any way you want.
Councilmember Mendoza Hernandez, is that something you want to decide today, or do you want to provide feedback via email?
If we can get some feedback via email, that would be great.
Mhm.
That would be fine with me too.
Okay. Okay. So we'll follow up via email.
And so that's the end of the business calendar. And is there any comments by the subcommittee members?
No comments on my end, I guess, just thanks everyone. I know it's maybe not what we all expected it to turn out to be, but I do appreciate everybody's time and effort and willingness to collaborate with the city, really to make sure that the lives of our residents are being centered and we're working towards bettering them.
Yes, I would like to echo those comments and thanking our district colleagues in coming out and for Carolyn taking the time off for this very important issues, because we do need to work together to make sure that our students are taken care of. And of course, with those students come the families, which are residents here of Santa Ana. So I'm really optimistic and that we have a great group of people who are willing to work and collaborate together so that we can bring much needed services to our students and our residents. So I thank you very much and looking forward to many positive results.
Councilmember Hernandez, do you have closing thoughts?
Yeah, just wanted to thank my colleagues for joining us in the committee and for their commitment to this collaboration. I want to thank the members of the SAUSD board and superintendent well for their time. And, hopefully next time we meet, nobody has to take a day off and we find a common ground for everybody.
Got it. And I actually don't know if this is allowed, but correct me, Secretary, if we can give time for the trustees to maybe say some closing comments. Okay. So Vice President Torres, I don't know if you want to go first and then Dr. Alvarez.
So thank you. I'm happy. I know we've kind of been working on this for almost a year. And so I'm glad it's finally kind of making its way. And it is difficult as we kind of go through this process, but I am very optimistic and I'm very thankful for the council members and the city staff for being present and helping us navigate this. So thank you.
Yes, I wanted to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here. This isn't necessarily what I expected, but it's a baby step. It's a first step. And the one thing that I just wanted to mention is that there's so many issues going on that affect both the school district and the city council. For example, I went to a neighborhood meeting where they were talking about traffic that affected the school, that affected the community. And there's issues like that. Not just that, but also we had somebody talk today about the use of our schools for neighborhood associations. Well, those are issues I think that the city council, that the city manager and our superintendent can talk about without necessarily going through the governing bodies. They can start having those conversations. And I think that as we move forward, that it's important for our superintendent and city manager to start having those conversations on issues that can be resolved without having to be brought up formally on an agenda. And that's all.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. If there's no further closing comment or anything else on the agenda, we can all get back about 14 minutes of our lives.
Okay, and so the next meeting will be on December 14th at 12. However, there may be a special meeting in November, but we'll keep the community posted on that. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Wonderful.
I would
you,
like to
Director.
say thank you for your service to my fellow veteran, Dr. Alvarez. Happy veteran.
Happy Veterans Day.
Kudos. Happy
Wonderful
Veterans
weekend.
Day, guys.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you.